everything in my life has been out of my control. Without him, I wouldn't be here right now.
Hey, Don, how's it going? My name is Nigel Chambers of Big O Belt Media, and it's a pleasure to talk to you today about the new film, A Place in the Field, which is going to be arriving on demand and digital November 28th. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to check this film out back at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival back in 2022, but I had heard nothing but amazing things. And now
Oh
that I
wow.
finally got a chance to check it out, I'm just blown away. And I feel like I feel like we need more movies like this. It's so inspiring, so much heart, and clearly driven on the backs of your performance here as the veteran Geo, who just takes us into I think a glimpse in society that needs more exposure. The brothers and sisters in the service who comes home and really struggling, and as we start to focus more in society about mental health, but also we need to have the conversation more about PTSD. And I think this journey here really just highlights all of that in a beautiful way. And I think a lot of the veterans would probably attest that it feels very genuine and home to them. So I want to start by asking you, taking a role, and I mean your resume is so versatile, and to see you in the film where you don't even get any acting, any comedic chops in there, and just a flat out drama with suspense. Can you talk to me about taking this role? Talk to me about the importance of this role for you. I mean, just overall your excitement about this being released now on digital on demand.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, playing the role of a veteran and Geo specifically was I think it came around at the perfect time. It was incredibly challenging. I think I grew up in Georgia. So when coming out of high school, it was either, you got a scholarship to go play sports, or you were super smart and you knew where you were going to go, or I had a ton of friends that were going straight to the military, and I think like, in a lot of places still in this country, those are still like the options that everybody kind of has. And I know
Yep.
that I still have almost a handful of friends that are still currently serving. And so, knowing what they go through on a daily basis, especially not even just them, just their families who are left behind while they're off serving overseas and doing things like that, there was so much weight. But in a good way. This was a wonderful challenge where I was like, I don't want to do the typical, Hollywood film that we've seen over and over and over again, where this veteran comes home and they struggle with all these things, and it's doom and gloom, and it's the end is near and everything is
Yeah.
terrible. I really love that this film is, I think, the first step on the upward journey to healing. It's not that downward slope, where I think this is the first step on the up, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm incredibly honored that I got to play that.
Absolutely, man. And I totally agree. And also want to take a moment to highlight your co-star and Corey Ellis, who plays Herbert. The two of you, and whether you all have a prior friendship, that camaraderie is so authentic. There was particular moments within the film, whether you served or not, that you just see two brothers and how they test one another, and how one could, bust one ball, but he's like, ah, that's my boy. I still got him and whatnot. Like you
Yeah.
really connect to that. How did you two come together being on this film? How did you kind of work that? And ultimately, how is your two's relationship now?
I mean, our relationship now is better than ever. We actually go to the gym almost every single morning together. Still, yeah, we're still workout buddies. This film was incredibly organic. He and I were trying to make a short film prior to making this feature film, and we were just traveling around Central California searching for whatever we could. And then when the pandemic hit, he and I had, I think like, the basis of this idea, and we just wrote every single day. And 3 months later, we were out in the middle of the desert shooting this film. It was an incredibly organic process. We were friends before. He's an incredible collaborator, and this was actually one of his first acting jobs too. So
Wow.
he did amazing for being just thrown in the fire like that.
Oh, he sure did. I wasn't aware of that, but he sure
Yeah.
did. And ultimately, I have to turn the light into the director, Nicole, who through all of her works, and whether you've read her bios or seen other projects, she's very intentional about her directing, the storytelling within her directing, and this story for sure highlights the importance of resilience within the human spirit. Knowing again, you're getting the script and you're taking the job, but then you're understanding the importance of the character you're playing. But then you also have to understand the importance behind the director's intentions here. Could you talk about your relationship with Nicole and just again your enthusiasm upon stepping into the role of Gio?
Sure. Nicole Mejia is an incredible director, and she is a force to be reckoned with. And she's gonna be a name here in the industry for the next coming decades. I'm positive of it. Uh, yeah, her and I had a relationship prior to this. We've been collaborators for a while. We've also done a couple other projects together, but I think being able to tell this male driven story through the eyes and lens of a female. Our cinematographer Kadri Koop is a female. Most of our producers are above the line, all female production designers above the line. It was really important that if this was going to be a male driven, male dominated story, that we had the other side of that coin. And I think I think this is obviously PTSD, especially with veterans is a male dominated topic, but I think, women in everyday life and in their challenges that they face the exact same,
Yeah.
PTSD, trauma. These are all things that are transferable, across the entire spectrum. And I think, what she was able to bring to it, with her voice and her experience, this is a different film that I'm incredibly proud of.
Yeah. To kind of pick your brain a little bit here, and we don't, I don't want to say it's the official record, but as just a fan of the film and looking back at the work, could you talk about the coyote here? What does the
Yeah.
coyote symbolize from the beginning of the film to the last appearance within the film?
Yeah, sure. There's symbolism throughout this entire film, but I think a coyote is a trickster. It's somebody that can lead you on your journey. I know that in different Native American cultures, coyote is somebody that helps ferry somebody. And so yeah, the coyote at the very beginning was, I guess, the symbolic death of Davis. Right. I don't want to give too much away in this film for people who haven't seen it or anything like that.
Mhm.
But he then comes back, and he is this person that is he's almost this guide on Gio's journey to healing and self-discovery and recovery. And so yeah, there's a lot of deep meaning. We got a compliment from a veteran who's seen the film a couple times now, and he goes, I like the film every time I see it, because I find something new every single time. And that was everything for me. That was the best.
Absolutely. And that actually was going to be my next question is, I'm sure a lot of veterans have reached out and connected with this film. And beyond the one you just spoke about, could you talk about any other receptions that you've gotten, or just special moments upon people watching the film that you really still keep very close to you?
Yeah, I think every time a veteran is able to see the film and then they come and they'll ask me if I served and I didn't, that's the highest kind of compliment I can get. I think if I did any sort of justice to them, I think that's all I can
Mm.
ask for in taking on this role. Yeah, I really like that everybody finds the reveal at their own time. I think that was, I think Nicole and our editor did a really wonderful job of kind of weaving this and hiding this until, we held that secret as long as we could until it was out. And I think the fact that people will come up after and go, "Oh, well, what about this? Was it here when he?" And they'll find it in their own time, in their own moment. That's what I love about this film.
Yeah. And honestly, yeah, I watched it a couple of times, and there was obviously a part of me watching the films with the critic eyes, and I slowly got distracted by just all of the very important and deep messages within it. Then I started to lose grip about the plot itself,
Mhm.
because I was on the journey with Gio in terms of self-discovery and rehabilitation and so on. And then you watch it a second time and start saying, well, what about his brother? Like, when did the events happen? Where do you kind of trickling in there, and what happened? I think that's great for good storytelling, because everybody's going to take their own sort of approach in terms of watching it, and I think they're going to come out on a different side, which is why I love films.
Right.
The most important thing I want to talk about in terms of that, though, is what is it that you want the viewers to get from after watching this film?
I really want people to walk away, especially veterans, with a sense of hope. I think anybody who's a civilian, I hope it brings light to the struggle that they still have. It's still about 22 veterans a day. This is still an incredible problem, facing, active and retired military. And so if it sheds light or helps somebody or makes somebody smile or, or just distract somebody for even an hour and a half throughout their day, man, I think we did our job. I think it was worth it.
Absolutely agreed. For my final question here, was this film at all inspired by anybody in their events, or was this just a completely organic story that the team came together to do?
Yeah, I think this entire process was an incredibly organic one. Like I said, the pandemic hit the beginning of March. I sat down and I was like, okay, let me just start writing. We were out shooting July of that year. I don't know how familiar you are with script writing, but that's incredibly fast, right? And so
Yeah.
it was such an organic process once we were able to get out there on the road with the group that we did. I mean, we lived on a ranch all together and shot this film in Santa Fe, New Mexico for a little over a month, and we literally did that journey. We drove across country, so much of this film happened organically. We shot where we found our locations on the day. We rewrote scenes. It's by no means a perfect film, but it's a film that I'm incredibly proud of.
It's damn good. It's overly
Thank,
impressive, and I
thank
I really can't wait for the rest of the world now to get a chance to see it, for the folks who got to see it a little bit early last year. But Don, I know you're not going to stop working, so I do have to give a moment for you to highlight other projects and ambitions that you have coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. I think the ambitions are just continue to write, continue to create. I have a show coming out on Apple TV with Colin Farrell called Sugar. Don't know the release date yet. This strike has kind of jumbled up everybody's schedule, and
Right.
a film called The Instigators. I got a little part in that with Casey Affleck and Matt Damon coming out sometime. So, yeah, those are the things that are coming up.
Amazing, amazing. Well, Don, thank you so much for your time. And folks, A Place in the Field, available on demand and digital November 28th, brought to you by Lionsgate. It's truly a film, whether you're a veteran or not, but just a human that's looking to take society into a better and right direction. This is a film that should inspire everybody in that approach. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your efforts and work on this film.
Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I